Peymon who?
Mottahedeh.
Peymon Mottahedeh. Who is he?
Never paid taxes in 30 years. Fought the U.S. tax court and won.
See, I believe our rights come from God, not from government. Hello, my friends. I am Peymon Mottahedeh, the president of Freedom Law School, which I created in 1996, and your host for the Freedom Hour that we have every week. You might have heard in the news that Trump, that's right, former President Trump, is floating the idea of eliminating U.S. income tax and replacing it with tariffs on imports. Have heard about that before? I have heard about that idea and have studied this issue for decades, my friends. That's right. So is that a good thing or bad thing? You're going to get the short skinny on this very important topic of Americans being free of slavery. That's right. You're no longer having to work to pay for your own destruction. The federal government is a very positive thing. So let's see if this idea has any positive merit. You'll see also other places are reporting on this on June 13, 2024, that no income tax, yes to high import tariffs. Trump floats idea to CEOs and GOP lawmakers. Well, guess what? Not surprisingly, the establishment is against this idea. I wonder why. Well, let's see what they say first, right? They complain these billionaires are worried about the poor. Yes, Trump's remarks about replacing income taxes with tariffs quickly drew critics. Broadly substituting tariff for income tax is a sure way to hit hard, low, and middle income Americans and reward the top. Interesting. Washington Post op-ed columnist Catherine Rampell noted that since tens of millions of Americans who pay no federal income taxes would presumably fall under Trump's tariff plan, this sounds like a huge tax increase on the lower middle income classes. Wow. Is that interesting? All those billionaires all of a sudden not worried about their own pocketbook, they're benefiting from it. They're worried about the low, under the class. Just how nice and patriotic and loving of these super billionaires to worry about the low and the middle income class. Do you smell something fishy on this? I do. Let's talk about this a little bit more, folks. Okay? Like the other article also has the same kind of language. Why it matters. Trump's policy would likely act as a highly regressive tax, benefiting the wealthy while straining lower income Americans' pocketbooks. Wow. These people worry about the poor people, huh? About 40% of Americans, those typically in low income households, pay no income tax. Instead, they would be burdened by higher prices of goods. Low income individuals spending on goods accounts for a higher percentage of the total net worth than high income individuals. Well, guess what? There is some truth to the second half of what they say here. See, the second half talks about the fact that low income individuals spending on goods accounts for a higher percentage of their total net worth than high income individuals. However, they try to get your jealousy to work against you, okay? And they say that, 40% of Americans pay no income tax, and that they will pay by higher prices for goods. Guess what they don't talk about? They don't talk about that high-paying jobs that used to be existing in America went outside to China and the rest of the world.
Oh, no!
Did you guys know that after the end of the World War II, over 40% of all the goods produced on Earth were produced in the United States of America? That's right. At that time, we still had tax on imports. Now everybody, including the Chinese, can import into the United States and pay zero tariffs. Their wages are a lot lower what American people used to get paid. So of course owners said of the companies, these billionaires said, we're gonna reduce our cost of our labor. Instead of paying Americans this much, we'll pay Chinese and foreigners this much. We can pocket the rest as a lot of it, at least as profits. So having the high tariffs would bring the jobs back into the United States. Good, high-paying jobs. What they don't talk about is why we have so many low-income Americans in the first place. And one of the biggest reasons for that, not the only one, but one of them, is the fact that high-paying jobs are being sent out there. Good, high-paying manufacturing jobs that used to make cars, electronic equipment, and computers, and televisions. Yes, even computer parts were used to be made right here in America. I remember in 1980s in Irvine, California, they had chip making manufacturing in that suburb of Los Angeles. So people will make more money. They can afford to make more money, pay a little bit more tax. That's what they don't want to tell you. But what we'll do, it'll reduce the taxes of this billionaire class who exported the jobs out there to take advantage of a lower amount of labor they have to pay so they can have their profits go up. And guess who is all for this? Thomas Jefferson, the third and arguably the best president America ever had. At Monticello.com, which talks about, Thomas Jefferson, here's what it says about him and tax on imports and tax in America. The Jefferson administration's enduring achievement, that's right, the biggest thing he accomplished, according to Jefferson himself, was to contain the federal government. Oh, that's a good thing. By restraining its fiscal power. So number one, the government was kept small. Not this new government that is working against you, set you up for January 6th, right? They're working against the FBI, CIA, DOJ, all your enemies. We need to cut the budget of these guys and then eliminate most of them, right?
Yes, sir.
And then, of course, that was done by Gallatin, who worked for him in the administration. He abolished internal revenue taxes. That's right. Impeached them all. Internal revenue taxes were in peacetime, and they slashed federal spending and repaid half of the national debt. That's right. So heavy spending during the War of 1812 severely tested Gallatin's system, but his basic reforms created a culture of fiscal restraint that survived. That's right. Jefferson, his proudest accomplishment was the fact that all the revenues of the U.S. government came from either sale of land in the South or the West as the Union expanded, or tax on imports. That's right. The American people were burdened with no internal taxes. Everybody gets to be tax-free. No one gets to be a slave. And jobs will come back to America. We buy from each other and rise to prosperity once again. And Freedom Law School has always been for this idea that will bring a lot more prosperity to every American family. But the billionaire class, I'm sorry to say, owners of Apple, BlackRock, those kind of people, they're going to make less profit. So my heart goes for BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, Apple, Microsoft, but I'm happy for you, the American people, my friend. Now, if you want to learn more about this topic, what you want to do is go to YouTube. There's a video called The Perfect Tax. Formula Rediscovered by G. Edward Griffin. Description of this video is in the link below. He is the author of the book Creature from Jekyll Island. That's right. And, he wrote how the Federal Reserve was hatched by the international banksters in 1910. The idea of the privately owned central bank that makes money out of thin air by making loans out of thin air and lending it to the government and the corporations, the American people, to enslave us. All of us pay now a tax called interest to the banks. He wrote the book on that topic, The Creature from Jekyll Island. He's almost 93 years old, and he wrote this book and his audio presentation called The Perfect Tax, a lost formula rediscovered. Please listen to this 40-minute video and pass it to all your friends. And folks, by doing that, Freedom Law School doesn't have to worry about income tax, focus on it at all. It'll be all gone. That's right. They stopped misapplying the income tax on the American people in the 50 states that legally do not owe the income tax to begin with. We will bring down this corrupt system that's been misapplied to people of the 50 states. Yes, folks, know this. The income tax was written since 1913, applying only to U.S. territories and Washington, D.C. Never applied, even way back then, to the people of the 50 states. They scammed us. They made us believe that the 16th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution gave Congress new taxing powers to tax you directly as a slave. And the Supreme Court has said that the 16th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution gave Congress no new taxing powers. But since they duped the American people for decades into believing they are paying income tax, now the work is on us at Freedom Law School and you, my friends, to check all this stuff out and tell other people about it. Go to our website. Go to freedomlawschool.org. And I made it easy for you folks. 7 steps are there to free yourself of virus deception, which leads to you being afraid, thinking, oh, if I don't pay income tax, if I don't file a tax return, I'll be in trouble. IRS can put me in prison, can take my bank account and paycheck, and everything I got. That's a bunch of lies. Okay? Well, since they keep you afraid of that, now they get to rob you and enslave you. Deceive you to fill out the 1040 income tax confession form and confess under oath that you owe the IRS money when you legally never owed anything to the IRS. That's right. The only people that are required to file an income tax are citizens and residents of Washington, D.C., and federal workers who work in Washington, D.C. That's what the law is, according to the U.S. government's official legal websites. So, again, go to freedomlawschool.org. And the 7 steps are there to free yourself of virus deception, fear, robbery, and slavery. I have not filed and paid income taxes for over 30 years, and I've been teaching others to do the same. And I'm not in prison. Why? Because the IRS knows. I know the law, and I know there's no law requiring me or you, the people of 50 states, to file income taxes, and they do not want to put me in a jury trial and win the jury trial, be acquitted, and expose us further to American people, because that news gets out. So they've messed with me different years, but I beat them in their own courts. That's right. Tax court, federal district court, Irish lawyers, and appeals officers have backed off, left me alone, even though I've been under investigation by the IRS since 1994. As a potential fraudulent tax protest promoter. Here I am free telling you, my fellow Americans, you do not have to be slaves anymore if you enlighten yourself at freedomlawschool.org and take 7 steps to free yourself of life's deception, fear, robbery, and slavery. Now, what you want to do is to drive in your car, put your smartphone up, and listen to the videos that educate you while you look at the road and drive safely. At lunch and dinner, put your smartphone or personal computer up. Now you watch videos and get to see that everything I'm telling you is the truth from U.S. government's official legal websites, their own reports and documents. It's not my opinion. That's the law that you're seeing. And with that, you'll be able to have confidence and smile like me, and be free, prosperous. You can pay off your credit card debt, have some savings, feel good, no more financial stress. You can have the life you want in freedom and prosperity. So with that, folks, I want you to know I love every one of you. I want you to be free. But I cannot make you free. You have to choose to be free by taking your time. When you drive to and from work or errands, listen to our videos at freedomlawschool.org. Then watch them at dinner or lunch breaks. And then you see, oh my gosh, I feel empowered. You're going to feel like in the Matrix movie, what happened to Neo? He was programmed with the truth and power. He said, I know Kung Fu. And you'll know Kung Fu to be free. Thank you. I love you all. And I'll talk to you again next week.